Welcome to Vinyl Verdict. I'm Bell.
I'm Jamie.
And I'm Adam.
And this week we are picking from Adam's collection. Very exciting. We did last season, the season before, whenever it was, we've kind of, us and the previous host, who shall not be named. We've actually censored him from all the old episodes. It's very inconvenient.
That's crazy. Yeah.
We picked from each other's collections, but this time we picked from Adam's. And I think we picked two good ones. I picked The Money Store from Death Grips.
Yes.
Jamie, what'd you pick?
I picked Black Sabbath, Master of Reality.
Wow. Adam, which one would you like to start with?
Why don't we start on a high note?
Oh.
Yeah.
You mean
and
drugs.
go with one of the most lauded albums of the 2010s. Death Grips' The Money Store.
He kind of pranked us because he was holding Master Reality when he said that at the start.
And I also
that song starts with a drug song.
Yeah, this is a high note. But I wanted to talk about Money Store first.
I'm excited.
I just got got.
So, Belle, why did you pick Money Store?
So right now I'm wearing a Death Grips hoodie. Death Grips has been around in my life for a while, but I've never really listened to them. They've always been this kind of almost meme to talk about because they're so hard to listen to.
Yes.
But they have a very dedicated fan base, and my best friend's fiance, Riley, has been a big fan for a long time, so I've listened just to kind of relate to him. And then when I became friends with Adam, found out he was a fan as well. And last year, I think it was last year, we went and saw Death Grips live, and it was the stinkiest concert I have ever been to. They have the stinkiest fans, and they are smelly.
You don't mean that the concert stunk.
No, the concert
actually stank.
Awesome. I went from not really listening to Death Grips to actively listening to them afterwards because their performance was so good. It's just so intense, and I was stone cold sober and still felt this crazy energy and wanted to go mosh, which I've never done before. And my best friend Lauren and her partner Riley and their parents were there, which is so funny. And it was such a good time. And I went from ironically liking them to kind of understanding it to where now I chose this and regret not listening to more of them before I saw the show because I feel like I would have appreciated it even more because this is a great but very hard to listen to album. This is not one I would recommend to many people on a serious note because it is very different.
Yeah.
But very, very good.
People described it as experimental hip hop.
Yeah.
What does that mean? We'll find out.
It is this. I would say this is experimental. Adam, why did you add this to your collection? How did you stumble across Death Grips?
I was introduced to Death Grips around 2012 from a friend who was he was a real big 4chan guy. He bros Mew a lot. And this Death Grips
Rose Mew? What?
Mew / Mew.
Oh.
The music board on 4chan.
I wasn't.
And Death Grips were popping off. This would have been 2012. So in 2011, Death Grips had released their first EP and then their mixtape, Ex-Military. Got a ton of hype in the underground scene. Then they dropped this immediately on a major label. They dropped this with Epic.
Epic.
Which they would then break the contract within the year because they wanted to release 2 albums in the same year and Epic wouldn't. So they surprise released the follow-up to The Money Store, No Love Deep Web, by just dropping it online and making the album cover a picture of Zach Hill's penis with the title of the album written in Sharpie on it.
It's all censored on Apple Music, so it's just tile of a bathroom with a very clear, very pink.
I think it's funny that they don't use the alt cover because there's an alt cover where he's wearing socks that say "f off" or something, or no, they say "suck my." I think it's a great album cover, but I digress. My buddy showed them to me, and I was kind of confused at first. I didn't really get it.
That's a good way of describing it.
But I was also very much into kind of experimental stuff. I really, really enjoyed Yeezus, which was why he turned me onto this. Because when Yeezus dropped, a lot of people were making comparisons that Yeezus was influenced from Death Grips, though I don't think that there actually was any crossover there. I just think that they both kind of went for an industrial sound at the same time. And then as I explored this album, I got into their follow-up. And their follow-up, No Love Deep Web, was what really got me into the band. And from there, I just kind of fell in love with the dark, gritty, cryptic lyrics, the insane delivery, the absolutely heavy and noisy and aggressive, abrasive production. And it's just kind of been an addiction ever since. I've absolutely loved this band for over a decade at this point. And so when I was finally able to get this repressing for Record Store Day of the Money Store, I had to cop it because a lot of their vinyl is really hard to get.
Yeah.
This album before it was repressed was probably going for like $600, $700. Their ex-military pressing that they did, it still goes for like around $1,000, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I got Riley Year of the Snitch, and it was also pretty expensive, and that's not a super well-known
Yeah.
one of their albums. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I had I ended up picking up the Powers That Be at a record fair for like $40 because it was just pressed. And only, I think maybe a year ago, they finally did a repressing, but that was the most expensive record in my collection. It was about $700. So I'm really bummed because now it's only worth like $80. But that means more people get to have it on vinyl, and hopefully that means that the band made more money. Yeah. So I just kind of fell in love with the experimental stuff. Yeah.
Jamie, what did you think?
It's interesting. It's kind of like one of those things where, like, I understand what makes it good, or understand what people like about it, or what makes it great. But in the same way that I don't enjoy reading Charles Dickens, I don't know if I enjoyed listening to this album, even though people say it's like one of the greatest of all time. But I like the idea of Death Grips. I think it's interesting. I did like you said, though, it is extremely hard to listen to. It is somewhat grating. The delivery, though, is kind of neat. You and I were talking about that the other day, even though we're not supposed to do this.
You guys talk about the episodes before we do them?
Well, we had dinner together, so
You guys had dinner together?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
We made out a little.
yeah. Shay watched. But
She said, "Woo!"
you're cheering us on. But it was one of those things where I made the comparison between the delivery that Chuck D in Public Enemy uses, where it's like a loud announcer voice, like he's mimicking his favorite radio announcer, to the way he, what's the guy in the Death Grips?
MC Ride.
MC Ride, thank you, gosh. Way MC Ride kind of just shouts like abrasively at you the entire time.
Yeah, channels that like kind of like homeless guy.
Yeah.
energy.
Yeah, he does. Especially because he performs just in jeans and no shirt.
Yeah.
He's got a big unkempt beard. He just shouts at you for an hour and a half and then leaves.
Like I like every picture. When you see him in a shirt, you're like, what's wrong?
It is very odd.
The picture on Wikipedia is him in like wearing a hoodie, and I was very surprised because every other picture I found of the group is just half naked man yelling at you.
Yeah.
So it is not to say that I did not enjoy my the entirety of my time with it. It's just, is it easy to listen to? No. Is it easy to pick out what's going on? Yes, though. So I have a good amount of notes on it. So it's not like one of those episodes where I'll be like completely silent on it. But it's, like I said, it's probably not for me. Although I understand why you might like it.
Yeah, this is an Adam.
Yeah, it is very much
It
an
is
Adam
from
pick.
Adam's collection.
I would say that this is like if I had to pick like 10 bands or something that like to describe my music taste, Death Grips is 100% on that list. Like they are very core. They're one of my favorite bands. They're very core to like a lot of the music I like. So
Yeah, it's interesting. Even we say it's hard to listen to. The production value is very high.
Yes.
Like it's kind of like what I complimented Danny Brown on is like the backing tracks are very unique
Intricate.
and fun to listen to.
Yeah.
It's intricate, like you said. I really enjoy a lot of it. I feel like a lot of them kind of come around in the chorus because some of them it is just like blaring sounds for a bit, and then it's like, oh, okay, no, like there's something here that is just so unique that it really draws me in. And the Money Store is probably one of their most accessible albums. I've not listened to everything, but like when someone asks, oh, like put on a Death Grip song, or like what do they sound like, I usually recommend I've Seen Footage and like Hacker or System Blower. These are very, again, unique songs, but they're a little bit easier to recommend to somebody who listens to Katy Perry.
Yeah. This is definitely like probably their poppiest, like definitely their most accessible album. Because it's either that or the mixtape, I think, are the easiest ways to get into them. Everything from here on out gets pretty weird. Like they have an album, the first half of The Powers That Be, they were in the studio to make a song with Bjork, and then instead of releasing that song, they just used the vocal recordings from it and like chopped them up and then put them on a V drum kit and like made a whole album using mostly her voice as a sample. And it's really cool. But that's also like probably definitely the one I would not introduce people with. And Year of the Snitch is also profoundly bizarre. Yeah. Should we lay the groundwork and give people a little bit of context around the album? Or should we just give it one more listen? What do you think?
Oh, well, did you have a preamble about what?
Yeah,
I wrote.
I wrote a little preamble.
Please.
Okay. This is the debut album from the Sacramento-based experimental hip-hop group. The group formed in 2010 and consists of underground experimental rock auteur Zach Hill, rapper and painter MC Ride, and producer/audio engineer Andy Morin, aka Flatlander. In 2011, they released the EP, as I mentioned, and that kind of set the online music world ablaze. They would then go on to release The Money Store, and then the whole kerfuffle with the label would come out. But now they have a solid legacy as some of the most interesting artists in music. The cover art for this was drawn by Sua Yu, and it's really cool cover art. We'll probably talk about it a little bit later. But the album is a creative blend of sampling, synthesizers, and balls-to-the-wall production with unhinged, cryptic raps from MC Ride. And many of the samples on this come from a compilation album called Music from Saharan Cell Phones. And it's literally that. They found discarded cell phones in the Saharan desert and took the SD cards out and pulled whatever tracks were on them and then put them on a compilation album.
Yeah, music used to like be illegal to carry on your cell phone or something like that back in the day. I remember reading up on that album because I was like, that's such a funny thing. And it's like, yeah, music was illegal in some part of the Middle East, so people would smuggle it on their cell phones. And that's where some of the samples came from for that album. I was like, that is so random.
Yeah, like over half the track. I think at least half the tracks in this album use samples from it. But there's also a lot of really weird samples, like the Sky Train.
Yeah.
Which you pointed out to me. I had never known that because I had never heard the Sky Train in my life because I had heard this album before I moved out here. So I just knew that sound as the System Blower sounded. You're like, this is the Sky Train. And I was like, oh my God. And in that same song, they use a sample of like Serena Williams, like grunting in tennis.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild. Yeah.
They're absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it absolutely blew my mind when I first heard it. And I looked it up. I'm like, it is actually the Vancouver SkyTrain noise. I was like, that's nuts. And even like the screeching of it trying to come to a stop is like using it. I'm like, that is so funny.
Yeah. So with all that in mind, I think now we should take one last listen.
Alone in the crate, John and don't sleep till day. Let's close my bird. I see bullet. I stay naughty. I see bullet. I stay I see bullet. I stay naughty. I see bullet. I stay I see bullet. I'm begging for mercy while I'm leaning hard to the left and the clock in the grip to the left pocket to the head knock rhythm. System blower. System blower.
What a banger start to the album.
Incredible opener.
One of my favorites.
Incredible opener. The little drum. The doo 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 doo.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's as frantic as the lyrics, which is something I appreciate. So the lyrics seem like is he actually running from cops? Are they actually?
Yeah, because the sirens that kind of come in with that first verse too. It's like it feels. It brings up an anxiety. It feels like running away from the cops.
Yeah, but I think at some point that he mentions that like he doesn't. The cops might not actually be there because he's high. And he's just like imagining that there's cops there, which I think is cool. But like you said, the backing is something.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's so aggressive. It just comes in. And I like how when you think it's going to like drop and be way more massive, like after the first drum hit, but when it comes in, it's kind of more just like noisy with that high pitched like trill from a sample from the Saharan Cell Phones albums. And just the rapid fire like rhyming and stuff. And even like the weird vocal hits, like where they're like just randomly like glitch out his vocal for a second. It's just so cool.
Yeah, this is a more calm vocal performance from MC Ride.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like the whole Danny Brown has the screaming and then the normal rap. This is his normal rap, which I enjoy. And again, kind of wish it came up a bit more often to have full songs like this. But I think it's fun because it really doesn't feel like it matches with how intense the backing track is in a fun way. Where again, it's like, as everything's like, it's like, what is happening here?
It kind of feels like he's like, it's like when you're like, he's buzzed out. He's just kind of like, he's so he's like, I don't know, high or something, and it's overwhelming, but he doesn't have the energy to do a lot. So he's just kind of like going through the motions while like this chaos is happening around him. And I don't know what like any of the lyrics on this album mean. They're all so cryptic, but some of them are just, they just sound cool or very funny.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really funny lines in this album to me.
This might be the only rap song I've ever heard that uses the word lycanthropic in it.
Yeah. Every so often he drops a word that's like, yeah, I read.
Yeah.
And moving on from Get Got, we go right into The Fever. Aye.
Aye.
Another very cool backing track that feels vaguely stressful. I love the distorted music that starts at 50 seconds though. It is weirdly familiar, but I couldn't really place where I knew it from. But it just adds quite a lot to it.
I like that how the sounds at the beginning kind of sound like the alarm, like when they go to red alert on Star Trek. Like the That was cool.
I was like, this is cool because this one shows off. I'm pretty sure that this is one of the tracks that has like live drumming from Zach Hill, and it shows off his like frantic and like crazy, almost pulseless drumming style that it's just so driving. They do a lot of drum sampling as well as drum machines on this, but a lot of it's also just played by Zach Hill, who is crazy. There's like a video of them playing the drums, and he's in handcuffs, and he's like just his wrists are just completely bloody, and it's all over the drum kit, and that's just and then the video's called like Rehearsal, and it's like on the Death Grips YouTube channel. You're like, oh my god.
Yeah, I like they sample themselves in this one. So he's like, "Let me off, screeching halt, concussion blinding, not my fault, ankles tied to cinder blocks." Then his scream is samples a single note, so it's like, ip, 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 ip. I'm like, oh, it made me laugh the first time, but now I'm like, that is just so fire.
They do that a lot. They self-sample a lot. They say like it's Death Grips is somewhere on here. Like they're just always like plucking things from wherever they find it, and it's really cool.
Yeah,
and
it's a good length of song too. I like how it has two just long choruses. Like the choruses are quite long, but it makes the song move pretty quickly, even though it's it's only 3 minutes or however long it is. I think it moves really consistently through it, where it's like, oh, it's a refreshing song, and it's only the second track. It's like it feels like things are really moving forward at a good pace.
Yeah. Although one thing I will say is that some of the lyrics are kind of hard to hear.
Yeah, I'm not listening to Death Grips' lyrics. I have no idea what he's saying.
Fair enough.
Very, very rarely. Like I noticed that Cinder Blocks one, but a lot of it, it's like it's just so much. Like he's rapping pretty fast,
and he's rapping so unpredictably. Like his flow is not like consistent at all. It's very, very almost like stream of consciousness. Like he'll switch to whatever he just wants to say, which must be just a real pain to have to memorize how to rap these songs.
Yeah, he's like, here we go. I'm like, whoa, what is this pacing, man?
And it just, I feels like his delivery is so energetic. You don't even need to know what he's saying to just be like, yeah, this is awesome. And you might be saying like dookie dookie farmer.
You get the last bit, and that's all you need. Like, you can still sing along to "I got the fever."
Yeah.
I got the fever. Like, you get enough to enjoy the song, and that people know you know the song, but not like no one. If Adam knew all the words to this song, I'd be like, "That's actually weird."
Yeah, no, I don't.
You're a psychopath.
For a band, I don't know like most of the lyrics on this album, which is wild for how much I've listened to it.
And after that, we get "Lost Boys."
Oh, this song's so cool.
The first 40 seconds of the song have some wild sounds that remind me of like when the reactor is melting down in the original Half-Life. You push the sample in, it gets all freaky.
Yeah,
Yeah, this
like
one's a lot heavier.
the super warped fuzzy bass that like wow 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 wow. The like phaser on the drums. This adds this really
so
cool
crunchy.
texture.
They're so crunchy. It's so much heavier, and I feel like that's in a good way. It's like a conked out song where you just bob your head to the beat.
The bass line is throbbing.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. And I love how like the chorus where it just says it's just Lost Boys, but like it's just delayed enough that it feels really heavy. Where you're like, it's just so offbeat, and the like off kilter like is just like such a.
A lot of the lyrics in the song are either Lost Boys or Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find the choruses to be a bit long and repetitive, but the fast verses make it worth going through it, because it's, again, like, it gives that kind of break after how much he's saying, which doesn't feel like he's saying much, but it's a lot of words happening.
Yeah.
It's a volume. Yeah.
And there's just so many cool. I don't know. I feel like it's such a long way down. Is such a cool line.
It's such a long way down.
It's. You're just like, oh yeah, it probably is. Like, it is scary if you look down, isn't it? For some reason the music, you're just like, yeah, hell is a long way away.
It's a long way down.
Don't look at your shoes.
Yeah, and I've seen when I was looking up some more information on this album, I found like. What feels like, I didn't read the whole thing, but it feels like it's at least 50,000 words of like dissecting the lyrics of this album. And they do, like, from the few interviews that the band has given, they're very private. They do talk a lot about like the depth. They actually write the lyrics as a group. It's not just MC Ride writing all the lyrics. So they do a lot of different references and stuff to like very specific references in their lives, or like specific things to Sacramento, like. And people read into it way too much in a way that I think is really cool, that the lyrics allow for that level of interpretation and investigation. It's kind of, I feel like cryptic lyrics can be hard to do. It's easy to just sound like nonsense. Like, I think there's a lot of bands that will attempt to do kind of like the vivid imagery of like a Neutral Milk Hotel album, but the lyrics just don't come off right because it just kind of sounds like you're saying weird stuff.
Multiple words strung together, yeah.
Yeah, whereas there's like a depth to it. Like you can, if you really sit down, you can suss out some sort of meaning. And I think that's really cool because that's just the case with most Death Grip songs.
Well, after this, we get Blackjack. It's not bad.
Okay, so the instrumentals on this track are incredible.
I love the heartbeat drum.
Yeah.
But it would be super cool if I could actually hear the lyrics.
Yeah, I have no idea what he's saying.
No.
This is not a song I went back to, but I liked the repetitive trance-like singing. That cool ethereal sound effect over the vocals I thought would become annoying, but it stayed pretty engaging as things like phase in and phase out really quickly between the lyrics. It's like someone talking to you as you're about to die in a movie when they're like a ghost. It's very odd. And his rapping is just so melodic in this one. It was fun to kind of bob ahead as he matches the beat of the marching drums. Very interesting one. Very interesting one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's more low key. It's very straightforward, which is nice because we've had like a lot of chaotic songs in a row. So this kind of playing that like boom 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 kind of beat is great. It's I think it's probably one of the less memorable songs on the album. A lot of times I go like, how does Blackjack go again?
It goes ba-da-dun, ba-da-dun, ba-da-dun.
Oh my god, it kind of does.
Right?
It kind of does.
I was listening in the car. I've listened to this album a lot since we picked it, and every time I go ba-da-dun, ba-da-dun.
Ba-da-dun, ba-da-dun. That's you've ruined it for me. Yeah, but it's a shorter song, so we don't have to sit around too much at the low energy, and we go into one of my favorite songs.
Hustle bones coming out my mouth.
Yeah.
Hustle bones coming out
Wait,
my mouth.
okay, are Hustle Bones the lyrics?
Hustle Bones?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Hustle bones are lyrics? Or what are hustle
Wait.
bones?
No, our Hustle Bones. I thought you meant like, does he say Hustle Bones in the song? And I was like, yes.
Now, is that his reference to like the?
I think
the
he's saying
words
it's
saying?
Hustle Bones coming up my mouth is like he's like I'm making a deal.
Oh,
Oh, interesting.
That's my guess. That's how I interpreted it. Is that he's like
I thought he was making a reference to that he's a rapper.
he's like scamming somebody. He's like tricking somebody. He's hustling bones.
Hustle and Flow.
Because I'll be 50 bones.
I like that the intro kind of sounded like Kickstart My Heart.
Yeah. It totally has that with the vrr.
Yeah, the backing track for the chorus is just so good. The main synths being bit crushed engine noises work so well too. The revving up of the synths gets me hype every time. And the outro of the song is also nuts. I don't know if it's a different rapper or if it's just him in like a different voice, but I was so mesmerized by the repeated lines being recited. Really like this.
Yeah, I love the like synth, the like female that like arpeggiates over the chorus is so cool, and with the like hi-hats. It's
The hi-hats that sound like the ignition on a stove. It just-
yeah. God, this song it's this energy and that is so good in this song. It's so intense. It feels so empowering. I used to listen to this stuff on like my way to job interviews.
Oh, God.
When I was nervous because I was like, it just get me hype.
This is one of the albums where I wish we could do more of a one last listen where we show the example of the music, because like each song is so different. It's like, well, I want to show this one. Well, I want to do Get Got. Well, I want to do I want to choose all the songs. I don't want to just do three because
I don't
so
see
good.
why you can't.
Oh, the great DMCA.
Oh, true.
But if you subscribe on Patreon, we'll do whatever you want.
Yeah, we'll do anything for your money.
Anything.
No request is too far.
This song, for whatever reason, gave me the Hotline Miami vibe.
I can feel that,
Yeah, it feels like you're gonna murder people.
Yeah,
but in a fun way. You know?
I do like a fun murder.
Hustle bones coming out my mouth.
Yeah, I love the
Hustle
outro. Of
bones
this song.
coming out my
I'm just listening
mouth.
to it again in my headphones, and I'm like, the outro's so good. When he
Criminal intent, anti-illegal ill thief in the night, peel your life back, spin the wheel. I'm like, man, just that recited verse is so good. I don't know what it means still, and I don't want to know. I don't care.
all I know is it sounds cool.
It's so cool.
It is the embodiment of the like Blades of Glory line of the like. No one knows what it means, but it's provocative.
Gets the
Gets
people
me
It
going.
gets the people going. It's so true.
Now, the next one
Oh, so good.
is a line that I keep repeating at the
I've
office.
seen footage.
Yeah.
I've seen footage.
I stay noted.
I stay noted.
Yeah, this one actually is probably the most out of the songs of this album. This one I think makes the most sense lyrically.
Sure.
It's a song about a guy who's seen some dark stuff, and now he's like paranoid and anxious all the time because he's seen people like dying, he's seen people being injured and killed, and now he's paranoid, and it's making him turn to violence as well.
Yeah. It has that "Where's Your Head At" intro sound.
Yeah,
Oh, I was trying to place. I'm like, is it Wild Thing? Like, Wild Thing.
yeah. No, it's very influenced by I think like kind of like 90s
Sure.
like hardcore tech, like some of the sounds of hardcore techno in the 90s.
And
like
it's got the
Where's Your Head At.
Domino's mascot, the Noid.
Oh, Illinois, yes.
He stays
forgot about
noided.
the
He's always
Noid.
eating pizza from Domino's.
The music video for this is like literally just a bajillion pictures. Most of the songs have music videos for this album. Some of them are very weird.
Tracks.
Like one of them is him like it's recorded entirely through some sort of like a vehicle's backup camera. He's like rapping into it and like pushing the car.
Oh, cool.
And then the car is put into reverse and he's like kind of trying to like resist it. It's really cool. They do a lot of weird stuff. It's very lo-fi, very simple. It looks like it's like all filmed on like cell phones. But I think a lot of the visuals for this album are really cool, and this one's really cool because it's a ton of different pictures. Oh, which one is? They have another music video where it's just a bunch of weed in a washing machine.
Okay. Yeah, this definitely is a classic. Like I said, this is the one that I usually recommend because it's fast and it's fun, but it's not dark, and you can kind of understand the lyrics. Even if you're like getting lost, it's not like you're missing on the lyrics because it's unintelligible. I really think it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, this is like the party, one of the two party tracks on this album. You could almost get away with playing this at a wedding. Almost.
At a wedding?
Almost.
What kind of wedding we're going to? This is the most accessible song on the album so far. I did like the bass line after the intro is incredible, or like the thing the bass does is incredible, and I thought the instrumentals were a real highlight of this one. Like it's probably the best part of the song, other than the I've seen footage part.
Yeah, it's such a catchy chorus.
It's such a fun.
Yeah,
fun
it's
line.
good.
It a scene when he says "sing crazy," it's like it's almost booty bouncing. You're like, damn. Yeah, I love this track. It's a classic. I think that I have heard this one too many times, though, and so it's almost always a skip for me at this point. But it's undeniably amazing.
So sad.
I just
Man
like
could be so jaded.
it's not. I love the dark aggression, and this is like the least dark song on the album in my. So.
Well, we got a dark one following this.
Yeah.
Double Helix.
It's got another throbbing bass line.
I don't like this one. I'm not a fan of the song sample that randomly comes in and out as a 1 second clip. Just annoying.
It samples
for
Blue
me.
Jay Way by the Beatles.
They should stop. Whatever
Yeah.
that is. I don't like that.
Oh wow! I think that's another Saharan cell phones
That would make sense.
sample.
So the Beatles one must be the one that interjects around the 2 minute mark.
That's right.
Yeah.
Very
that's the one
trippy. I'm like, what is happening here?
Yeah, this one is I think this is it is really just like a kid's hitting the one button on the sampler. Oh wow! I don't know why it works for me. And I just love the pummeling bass line.
So you really want to know? Double.
Yeah.
Double.
What
You
a
said
hook.
double 3 times. You say it twice, man. Double.
Helix.
See, we wanna know
And it's
how
also another song where it's a little bit in the calmer rapping from MC Ride, and it's more intelligible. And so I think lyrically, it's a cool song as well. I don't know what it means. I just like saying stuff like Rorschach Inkblot in the street. Sounds
Sure.
cool.
Yeah,
Sounds
sounds
cool to
cool.
me. But yeah, I would say one of the, again, a more low-key track. But they're also smart because it's also shorter. It feels like it transitions well. Like it feels like it belongs in the place that it does, but it doesn't overstay its welcome.
I get behind that.
Yeah.
Let me get my favorite song because I'm a patriot. I love Canada. I love Vancouver. I love the SkyTrain. System Blower.
Yeah, this song's awesome. This is what they opened with when we saw them live. And it was such a great, the moment it opened, because I remember, like, I don't think I saw you for, like, the whole concert, because I remember, like, we were all, like, kind of standing in the same area, and then they started playing this song. I was like, okay, I'm going in.
Yeah, we come to blow your system.
Blow!
It's just so good.
And then the sound's so huge. They're like, it's so freaking massive.
He's got a line that I really liked. He says, "Sadomaso kiss my fist."
That's
That's good.
It's a good line. The way that they take that, they use the accelerating SkyTrain as this like rising tension, and then they'll like,
It's like, yeah, cutting in and out.
yeah.
See,
And then that like big like scream noise on the
I think
chorus.
it's
That's the
stopping.
Serena. No, that's the Serena Williams.
Oh, that really?
That's her hitting a tennis ball. That's her. They're like ah, and they just warp the crap out of it.
Even that, like, whoa,
Yeah, that's just them adding like more junk to it. That,
crazy. I just didn't know the SkyTrain stopping because it sounds so similar, but that's so fun.
Yeah, it's it's so funny. I remember watching the video. There's like everything sampled on this album, and it's just like And you're like, and then it goes, I was like, and here's what it sounds like in the song. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Sure.
I believe you.
Yeah, I like how it also cuts to like just the basic little drum at 110 as he is rapping "Kill It or Die," bragging about how it all dialed, and before coming all back in with the crazy sounds and everything. Like it's very satisfying. I think it does peter on too long at a minute or 3 minutes and 45 seconds, but I do still enjoy it
because it kind of is like there's two parts to the song, and they do them like 6 times. But I also think that kind of shows that's one of the reasons why this like album is a bit more accessible, is because that like the first minute of this song, while the sound itself is abrasive and crazy and hectic, the structure is very predictable. Like, you know that when the drums drop out and you get just the hi-hat coming in, you know that the drop's gonna happen, and then it does. Like, they're really clever about how they're using your preconceived expectations of how music sounds in terms of structure, and allowing them to experiment with ridiculous sounds so that you don't feel so out of your element.
Heck yeah. We need more Skytrains in songs. I looked it up, Jamie and I were talking about it, because I thought White Lines by Danny Brown also had a Skytrain sound in it when I was listening, and I was like, that sure sounds like a Skytrain. But I couldn't find it, so I was like, I'm going to Google songs out of the Skytrain. It's a small list. It's a small list. But I did find a video of just a Skytrain noise, and everyone was commenting about being noited and Death Grips. Well, after this is The Cage. I love the intro and the chorus on this one. That I'm like fire. So
I don't know how they get away with truly one of the most annoying like sounds ever, sounding sick as hell.
Yeah. I wrote down that the intro sounds like how I imagine having ADHD is.
Yeah, it sounds like a fire alarm that's kind of gotten distracted.
Yeah.
Like there's a fire going on, but it's thinking about some other stuff right now.
This is the one I wish I had known before I went and saw the show, because they do a little call and answer. It's like, I say kill it like you hate it. I say kill it. You say hate it. Kill it like you hate it. Kill it like you hate it. I say, oh, you say can't take it. I can't take it. I can't take it. I'm like, yeah, that's fire. And again, it kind of ramps up with some yelling that becomes more pained in the song. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think it's another example of like they're using like very traditional fun song strategies, like a call and response, and they're putting it over the craziest stuff you've ever heard, and it just makes it so real. It's really, really fun. Yeah, this song slaps. I think it's probably, for me, the weakest song on the album, and. But that doesn't mean I don't think there's a single.
Really? You think it's worse than Blackjack?
Yeah.
Or, sorry, Double Helix.
I think it's worse than Double Helix. I don't know. I find it. That burr, 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 burr is like a little repetitive by the end of the track. But I when I say weakest out, like, I don't really think that there's any bad tracks on this album, not even close. I think the very ending, where they pull it out and they have that weird, like, high sparkly sound, and then it goes back for the final chorus with extra bass, is so good, though. It's such a good moment. And we lead right into
Punk Wait.
Yeah.
Wild intro. Somehow not too annoying. The little Alvin and the Chipmunks sample from the Saharan desert. But the horn sample that starts up as a transition to the meat of the song is so good. Feels like something from a George Clanton song. I was like, sure. Oh yeah, this feels good.
One of the lines they use in it, he says a mic spray Krylon. That's literal. They have a video where he's just spraying spray paint past a microphone. So
yeah,
sure. That must sound wild. I don't know, but here we are.
Yeah, I love the song. It's funny how the intro just feels like it's completely unrelated.
It's also long, at like 50 seconds long before the George Clanton horns come in.
Absolutely huge drop after that verse. And also a great opening lyric.
Hot and cold
doo-doo. It's weird to reference cold poo.
Yeah.
Hot poo, cold poo. Okay, mother effer, let's doo-doo.
Yeah, I like the bridge that starts off to the 2-minute mark. I just like the way he goes, whoa.
Like a video game character.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. It's like he dropped down a ton, like a big hole. Whoa. And it like echoes as he goes down the hole. Whoa.
Yeah. It's like you're in like an empty bathroom, but he like dropped the toilet paper roll, fell out. Whoa,
Whoa.
25.8, 12 gauge punk weight. He's not 24/7. He's 25.8. He's
Punk
that
weight.
dedicated.
Oh my god.
And I also love how when he drops the toilet paper, it goes.
He jumped down the stairs. That's his toilet paper is really rough.
Oh no!
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah, the energy. Another incredible, energetic song. A ridiculous, just blasted to crap bass. Like it's so over. It's so clipping so hard. It's distorted to all heck, and it feels so good. It's so noisy. Mm-hmm. I love this song.
Good thing they followed up with my least favorite song on the album. F that. It's just not memorable. It doesn't do a lot for me. I like the little hey chant that comes up every so often, but like it's just some tribal drumming
Yeah.
and
He makes
random shouting.
He makes a reference to the kind of microphone he's using, but then he says the microphone is hazmated, which implies that his beat or his lyrics are sick.
Or toxic.
Yeah. Or toxic, yeah, sure. But he like literally calls out like the make and model of the microphone, which is very specific.
Yeah, he does say Shure Beta 58A. I don't know. I love the like tumbling drum beat on this. This one I
Sure.
think is really cool. I think it's an underappreciated one. I get why it's I think it's the least streamed one on the album. I get why it's usually kind of considered the dud. But I love the like random like hey those random hey beats, and like I think it's a really cool song. Again, short. And we move on into
Bitch, please.
what a great chorus. Even just it slows down. The super reverbed and distorted bass line is so cool.
Oh yeah, the
Ooh, when I catch
instrumentation on this is incredible. Or like the backing track rather.
You must be
Smoking rocks. Yeah, you must be smoking rocks.
I love the line. I'll say it again. Quasar gay maximum vacuum. Quasar gay maximum vacation rotation spins. It's like, what? Even the flow of the line is like, what? Quasar gay maximum vacuum.
Interior crocodile alligator type vibe.
Honestly, it's just so funny, but such a good line. The chorus that it leads into right after that's also very good. Really like it.
I also like how he's like doing like a booty shaking anthem as the first verse. Drop it like, oh yeah, that's so trashy. You're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I want to meet what kind of people are dropping it nasty to this.
I don't know. They're sick.
I want to know. They're white dudes.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the song, but I didn't think it was bad, especially when it got the Quasar line. It's really hard to dislike it.
I love this. I love the chorus. I love that weird synth line over top.
Yeah,
Especially that. And then when it goes, you're like, yeah. I also love, ooh, when I catch this gun clap shrapnel off my lip cause bloodbath is like so good. Just out of nowhere. Yeah, I love how all the left turns in this song is so fun. And it takes us into the final track.
Hacker.
Another great song.
Which I think is arguably the best Death Grip song, period, is Hacker. This is full of incredible lines.
This actually does have some great bars.
Yeah.
I'll make your water break in the Apple Store. You'll catch a JPEG to the head. Soon your crew will be serving sandwiches named after me. Vietnamese style, fool. Please. He's telling people to put the fries in the bag.
I also love tables turned. Now we got all the coconuts, bitch.
Yeah, this is my favorite Death Grips chorus. The screeching synths, the repetition, the cool backup singers. It's just perfect.
Yeah, it's such a bumping track. It's so fun. It's danceable. It's constantly great lyrics. The chorus, again, yeah, I'm in your area. Such a good hook. The synths.
I've got the first three numbers. He's got the area code. He's nearby. Just the idea of being like, I know I'm close. I have your area code. It's like there's still quite a big area, but I'm getting close.
Yeah. The arpeggiated synth, the chorus, the chorus, the ridiculous lines, the cool. They sample like a university drum line for this. Is like the background. They're like chicka 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 chicka. It's so good. It's so good. It's so fun. I want to dance to this song, but like
I'm in your area.
I think it's like the most
area.
honestly fun and one of the most almost like joyous tracks that Death Grips have in their entire catalog, and which is a catalog which I would not say exudes joy.
You're an intern on WikiLeaks. It's just there's so many good ones. I like also the idea. It's like when you come out, your stuff is gone. It's like I just like the vague threats. It's like I'm gonna hack you. I'm getting close, and I'm gonna steal all of your stuff. You're gonna catch a JPEG to the head. It's like just such funny, imagery of like this stereotypical like Silicon Valley mentions of Apple, mentions of Jack the Hacker instead of Jack the Ripper. It's a lot of fun. It's very on brand for this
I like
hacker idea.
I like the line having conversations with your car alarm.
Yeah.
It's like the only really themed song in this album. Like it feels very different lyrically, and maybe that's just because I can only understand lyrics on this song. But
Sure.
Well, even like conceptually, like the starting, it sounds like he's like a bouncer at a club.
no ins and outs.
No ins and outs. Like you can hear the thumping of the song inside the club. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's such a unique track in their catalog, and it's such a high point for me.
Even the idea that he's so busy, he says, "I leave it for the homeless to sleep in."
Yeah.
Just damn unnecessary shot. To
Also,
homeless,
like, why is he bringing Lady Gaga into this? Gaga can't handle this. Throw up a black hole at the entrance of Linden's and things. What are you doing?
It's so good.
Yeah. Yeah. This is I couldn't imagine a better way to cap off an incredible, incredible album.
Truly. Let's talk about the record itself.
Yeah, so the record itself, as I said, this is a more recent pressing. I think it's a Record Store Day pressing from, I want to say 2022?
I was going to say they did a recent one. That sounds about right to me.
Yeah.
Because I saw, like they made quite a few. For Record Store Day, I remember seeing these around. But the cover is iconic.
Yeah, the cover art is incredible. There's a whole interview where they talk about like why they went with the cover art and how it kind of symbolizes a lot of the ideas that they went for with the music, like having the like gender non-conforming like bodies, like the breasts on the masculine frame and the like dog mask and stuff like that
With the anime eyes in the dog mask.
Yeah, the like very chibi anime eyes too.
With Death Grips just carved into that person's chest. And
Yeah.
they're carrying groceries. So, like, it's very odd to be like, is it regular day they've gone out and got groceries like this? There's a person holding the dog mask person with a chain and they're smoking, but it's like an anime girl, but rugged and smoking.
Yeah, with like a beer belly
And a
like
treasure
and
trail.
like arm hair and stuff. Yeah, they do have a treasure trail. I think the art is it's so good. It's so cool. And then the black and white like the
Divide, yeah. The
yeah,
split
it's so
black and
so
white.
cool. And that's mirrored
What about
on
on
the
the back?
record itself.
What about the back of it?
Yeah, but I
What's
just
on
want
the
to show
back
you
of the
that
record? Whoa!
Whoa,
I
it's
should have
like an
bought it.
Oreo
That's so
cookie.
it's
cool.
black and white split down the middle.
What's on the label?
On the label on the record
Yeah.
is just
Oh, it's their hands.
the handcuffs.
Oh, they're cuffed together.
Yes, they are cuffed
Head to
together.
hand.
Well, I don't know if it's handcuffed. No, they're not cuffed. It's like a leash.
It's like a don't let your dog away. Yeah.
Yeah. And then one's a negative. Track order is maintained from what is on the streaming
Phew.
services. Yeah, I know, right?
Unlike that
The
one
pressing
brand.
sounds just fine. It's good. Like it's exactly what I expect. I'm happy. It's not
Comes
a bad
with a
quality.
lyric sheet, and it
no.
shows one of them peeing ? Milk. It's white,
Yeah, I don't.
but it's a lot, and it's like on a like outside of Home Depot where they just kind of like leave some of the outdoor stuff. Like there's just like random cabinets outside or something like that.
Cool.
Very weird, and all the lyrics.
Yeah, the sleeve for the record has an image that is associated with a couple of loose songs from their Death Grips EP that are also on the website that they used to have called Black Google.
Great URL.
It's a
That's worth millions now.
it's like a 3D
Let's see.
rendering of like an office chair with a green lamp.
Oh yeah, that is weird. And the other side is a very close-up eyeball.
Yeah,
I
I
like
think
that picture of Tyler the Creator and Wolf.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think this is a screen grab almost of MC Ride from the video for "You Think He Loves You for Your Money, but I Know Why He Really Loves You." It's for your leopard skin pillbox hat, which is the first track off of their album Government Plates.
I kind of wish the back of the record was more.
Yeah, it's just the
'Cause even
feet.
like the picture is not even full, like the full.
Yeah,
back.
we don't get her feet.
Yeah, it would have been neat to be the bottom half of their body or the back of their bodies, or even continue the split color. Like it's just white. You see feet, but it's like cut off. It's only in the
Yeah.
center. And the track list, I do like being in pencil.
Yeah, I do
and
like how
kind
it's
of worn away,
smudged
yeah.
or like it's like a marker on a board or something. Like it was wiped or written by somebody left-handed.
Disgusting lefties.
Yeah.
It just says the money store at the bottom. If you get the censored version, like you have a CD or I don't know, the money store is written over the chests of the two people on the front so that it's not uncensored because they're bare chested. The dog person.
Yeah, they got some bolt-ons.
Those are bolt-ons, and I really do like the death grips carved in the chest. It's very graphic.
Yeah.
Very visceral.
It's cool as heck. And it also, that version of the logo appears on the Powers That Be, but it's etched into a pool light.
That's what the light is. I was like, that kind of light looks so familiar.
Yeah. So,
Well, Jamie,
Yeah.
we know that you weren't a huge fan, so why don't you tell us what you have as your final verdict for this album?
Oh, okay. So I put this I put this album in the number 11 spot above Thank You Scientists, Stranger Heads Prevail.
Wolf is getting higher, baby.
No, Wolf is number 14.
What? Oh my goodness.
Um,
We've done so many episodes.
yeah. And it is just below Our Lady Peace's.
Spiritual Machines gets even
Spiritual
higher,
Machine.
baby.
I didn't hate the album. I found it kind of hard to listen to. And it's definitely not for me, but I understand why you two clowns like it. So that's,
I think
that's
you
good
should.
enough for me.
How many times did you listen to it?
3
in preparation
times.
for this?
Oh,
I think you
that's
just need to
enough.
you just need to give it 8 more listens, and you will be hooked.
I'm
it's
just
like
saying.
it's like when people tell you have to listen to this, like watch like 300 hours of TV before you get to the good season.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta just the first 300 episodes of Naruto. They're okay.
He's saying that this album needed a big green monkey. Everyone's a junkie on it. You know, he needed that kind of.
You know what? If this album had Tommy's Party on it,
Oh my god, it'd be unstoppable. Well, for my final verdict, The Money Store by Death Grips is a fun, fast, and stressful album that, like Machine Girl from last season, scratches a very specific itch. Funny enough, Machine Girl opened for Death Grips on their tour at one point, didn't they? I'm gonna make it up.
I think
yeah,
they did.
Well,
they
I'm saying
opened
they
for
did. Oh no, was that was
they opened for
Verd-
100 Gex.
Suicide? Yeah, that's
100
it.
Gex.
Yeah. Death Grips is pretty crazy. I definitely understand that some people didn't like this album, but I do most of the time. You don't always want to listen to this energy. I'm going to put this in the 6th spot under Wolf by Tyler the Creator and above Atrocity Exhibition by Danny Brown. Those 3 records are all pretty close together, though. I think Atrocity Exhibition is just too long. Like, the album's a bit too long. And Death Grips is a bit too intense to pass the more varied Wolf. But honestly, depending on the day, these 3 can move around. I've been listening to a lot of Atrocity Exhibition lately. But these are all kind of in that same block.
It's funny because Atrocity Exhibition is only like 46 minutes long or something.
It feels long.
It feels long because it has so many tracks. Mm-hmm. It has 16 tracks and they're all short, or 15 or 16 tracks. But I digress.
What's your final verdict?
My final verdict is that Death Grips The Money Store is one of my favorite albums from one of my favorite bands, and I think that it is essential listening for anybody interested in modern music. I'm just gonna.
That's a wild claim.
I think that they're very significant in understanding the music scene of the mid 2010s and what was important to online culture. I think this album has so many incredible ideas, and it executes them all so well. And it's
Pitchfork
both,
gave it an 8.7. Pitchfork gave it an 8.7.
They hate music.
And they hate music.
yeah, I think this is like the third highest rated album on Rate Your Music.
Really?
Yeah, this is what he's saying. This is the incel anthem.
It truly is. It's also like it's if you're Fantano core, Mew core, Rim core, this is high rated on all those.
Fantano core.
Where he's picking Swans one day. Anyways,
I'm not going to put you guys. I don't want to make you guys do that
What's
because
the rest
all
of
the
your
Swans
final
records are like
verdict?
2 hours and 40 minutes.
Yeah.
My final verdict is that this is number one. This tops the list, going above Atrocity Exhibition by Danny Brown. This album's incredible.
Wow.
Bell, where was yours?
6
6. Okay.
above a trusting exhibition.
But-
funnily enough,
Do you know what else I would consider essential listening?
Black
your next
Sabbath.
pick, which was Jamie's pick in your collection,
Yes.
Black Sabbath.
Master of Reality.
It's embossed on the cover too, right?
Yes, this is this is my dad's copy. I inherited this from my father, and you can
Mr.
see
Sondergaard.
you can see his initials on it.
Wow, he really defaced the record.
Well, I mean, he was 11 when he bought it.
Adam Sondergaard Sr.
That is his name.
ASS.
He bought it when he was 11, when he was working a summer job. And he did not realize, nor did his parents realize, what the first song was about. Because you wouldn't want your 11-year-old having
Smoke
anything
weed
to
every
do with
day.
that.
Yeah, it literally says smoke weed every day. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it really is.
Swed.
Yeah, I don't know. Jamie, did you prepare an intro for this?
No, Black Sabbath is an interesting band, though. I didn't write anything down, but Black Sabbath is basically, well, it's Ozzy Osbourne's first band, or the first group he was involved with. One of the people I admire in the band is Tony Iommi, the guitarist.
Great
And
name.
I can't remember the two other guys' names.
You got Bill Ward on drums and Geezer Butler on
Geezer
bass.
Butler.
Geezer
I bet.
Butler.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? Now that's a
crazy.
name.
He was meant to work in hospitality as a butler.
Sure. Yeah.
No, he's meant to be a bassist. He's incredible.
Yeah, and so Tony Iommi lost the tips of like 3 fingers on his strumming hand. Is that right? The strumming hand,
No, his fretting.
fretting hand. Excuse me. When in a factory accident years prior, and his fingers hurt on the first 2 records so badly that they detuned the guitars on this one so that the strings were less taut, but also it gave the sound where it is very heavy sounding because everything is so low now. And that's why this album kind of sounds thick or deep. I don't know how to describe it, Adam. You got better words for that?
I mean, thick is a good sound. But I also thought that he has like little caps on his fingers too.
Yeah. That I don't know
Yeah.
if that came before or after, but he's got like little fake fingy tips. But his fingies were so sore from playing the faster paced, like Paranoid is a fast song, and like songs with a lot of heavy power chords and stuff in it, that they went to this drop tuning, and him and Bill Ward, right? He's the bass. No, Geezer Butler. Excuse me. Him and Geezer Butler both tuned down their instruments, so the bass and the guitar are both tuned down on this album. This is probably one of the first truly heavy metal albums, or sludgy metal, or stoner metal albums. But I like it. I own a copy too. I'll bring it out later. I think it's the same copy.
Yeah. So Black Sabbath basically are kind of considered like the fathers of heavy metal.
One of the
And especially on the first track on this album, Sweet Leaf, which basically is the template for the genre of stoner metal.
100%.
And we'll talk about my experience with stoner metal in a little bit. But yeah, I almost said Death Grips. Black Sabbath, absolutely iconic. I think if you're interested in any of history of rock, you need to listen to Black Sabbath. And when I think of Black Sabbath, I think of this album.
Sure.
This is the most Sabbathy
That or Paranoid.
Sabbath album. I think Paranoid is really good.
Yeah.
And has like the highlights like War Pigs and
Paranoid.
Iron Man. Paranoid doesn't really feel like a Sabbath song to me though.
No, it's fast. It's too fast.
I mean, well, there's fast songs on this album. It just doesn't feel. It's just like kind of like power rock almost. It's like
Sort of, yeah. It's more, yeah.
And then their first album has like the song Black Sabbath, which feels very Sabbathy, but also has like mostly just kind of blues rock songs.
Yes.
And Master of Realities, where they really kind of started to stretch into more experimental directions and really get there and really define their sound.
They said in an interview that this was an album that they were given more time on.
Yeah.
So the previous 2 albums were recorded in basically a week, and then they were given much more time to record and try things out, and they didn't have to listen to the engineer and the producer as much, and they were allowed to go their own direction. So, and you can kind of hear them, the sound slightly change, and the lyrics are fine. I wouldn't say there's anything deep in any of the lyrics.
Really? I think the lyrics are pretty good.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying, like, if you're looking for like depth in them, there's a lot of songs about Satan. And the first song is literally about
there's 2 anti-war songs on this.
Yeah, there's 2 anti-war songs and one song that explicitly mentions Satan itself. But
yeah, and then there's a song about weed.
Yeah, and there's a song about weed. Yeah. Bro, what'd you think?
Song about weed.
Yeah.
I've never listened to Black Sabbath before. Like, I didn't know what genre they're in. Didn't know it was Ozzy Osbourne's band. They're not bad. Ozzy's voice isn't really my cup of tea, at least on this album. But there were some fun ideas and some great guitar riffs. I found myself drawn more to the instrumentation than the vocals in almost every song. I feel like maybe it was just even the recording style or something. It just felt like it was far away or like different. It was a little crunchy.
It's like in a hallway, sort of.
Yeah, it just felt a little off. I feel like if this had like a remaster or some different version where everything was like done differently, reproduced, I might enjoy it a bit more. But I don't say that in a bad way. Like, I do think this is still very, very good. And, you know, for I didn't know the history of this being something so early in the history of metal. I think that's very cool. I think that is very cool, and gives me a sort of appreciation I might not have had right off the bat, but I think it's neat. I don't really have any super strong feelings about it other than, like, it doesn't have Iron Man.
No, it doesn't.
Or Smoke in the Water? No. What is the other one?
Smoke in the Water is Deep Purple. But another...
Crazy Train.
Crazy Train is an Ozzy Osbourne song from like 20, there's like written like 10, 12,
10 years
later.
Yeah. Really?
It's a song from the 80s.
Yeah, that's from the early
song.
80s.
Like, if that song was on here.
Yeah, great song. It's interesting to see how many musicians have said that this was an inspiration for certain things. Like Billy Corgan said that this album was an inspiration to the sound.
The world is a vampire.
Yeah, that it was an inspiration for their album Siamese Dream, which is also a great album.
Yeah, I love Siamese Dream.
And a number of people have said that this album may have inspired like grunge.
Oh yeah,
later on. Although I will say that Neil Young's sound in the 80s was also an inspiration. Like the Better to Burn Out, Fade Away Neil Young sound is probably also a good inspiration for grunge. Yeah. So, anyway. Any more thoughts, Adam?
I think we should just get
this
into
This was a fairly short one. This album's like 35 minutes long.
Yeah, it's tight.
Yeah. Short and sweet leaf. Let's give it one more listen.
Yeah, I was like, whoa.
That's not a song on this album.
Sweet Leaf. That's how I like my tea, too.
Oh.
And my marijuana. I've never... That's like a rap song intro. Having someone coughing from the old Devil's Lettuce.
I think that's Tony Iommi.
Yeah, he's taking a huge bong rip And also this album is one of the first songs to use a tape loop, which I thought was interesting. Yeah, it's just looped. So which is kind of neat. The riff goes hard.
Yeah, Sweet Leaf is such a good riff. It's unbelievably. It's a classic. It's iconic. It's so good.
Yeah.
That like descending like do 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 do, as well as like kind of how Bill Ward like sits back on the beat with it, so it just kind of has that extra bit of heaviness. And it's crazy how heavy it sounds for being very. It's not super heavily layered. There's not double tracking.
No,
there's not even like big thick chords. It's a lot of it's just single notes like with some power chords. Like it's really cool. And then
I love you.
Like the bass is also doing a lot, moving around, adding, but like whenever there's chords being played, like that are being held or sustained, the bass is like Geezer's like, okay, let me do some stuff, and this song's so good. This song is like, mwah, mwah, mwah. It's everything that you want in a stoner song. And you can see why this song went on to inspire an entire genre of music, of people being like, let's make that again and again and again.
Yeah, the bass solo at 2:35 during the instrumental interlude, so good. So good.
The song gets faster around 2:30, and then we get the solo around 3 minutes, and then we go straight back to what you liked at the beginning. The riff comes back around 3:30.
Yeah, the jam at 3 minutes is so good.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, exactly. It falls back into that groove. So you go like...
That's kind of the problem, though. I wanted more of that speed. Like, this felt a little too slow for me. This is a little bit too conked in the head, bob in your head. I wanted a bit more after the solo. I was like, oh, that bass solo. Oh, the drumming. And it goes, boom, boom. Like, it just slows right back down, which to me was a bit jarring. But, again, not necessarily my genre. We all know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, undeniable groove. Absolute classic. Wild playing from everybody.
And they follow it up with a stinker.
Whoa.
After Forever's fine. It's okay.
It's a Christian rock song. And he's just asking me questions the whole time. Song stinks. I was like, why are they just asking me questions? I don't want to answer any of these questions.
It has the line.
Have you ever thought about this? Or perhaps you've thought about that. Is God just in your head, or is he a part of you? Is Christ a name? I'm like, stop. It's like hashtag deep thoughts. I'm like, why are you just asking me things, bro?
The intro riff though is quite good.
Yeah, I love that the bass that doodle doodle doo. You're like, ooh. Do 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 do.
And then it's got another sweet riff around 35 seconds into the song. It's pretty sweet. And then it has a line in it that I really like. Pope on a rope. It's really good.
Would you like to see the Pope on the end of a rope? Do you think he's a fool? I don't know. In the vocals, like, again, this is where I don't like the vocals. I do really like the instrumental work, though. The guitar solo, they just, like, panned it back and forth between the left and right speakers for fun. The outro jam is solid.
Yeah.
If this was an instrumental, I would have been like, this is fire. But then he sings, and I'm like, nah.
Yeah, I also agree. I don't care for Ozzy's like. I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, yeah.
Were you one of the ones who
And I think the riff. I think this, for me, this album has a little bit of a. There's a trope on TV tropes called Seinfeld is bad.
Yeah.
Which is that people watch Seinfeld now who've never seen it and they go, I don't get this. This isn't funny. This isn't original, because everybody's ripped off Seinfeld for so long. And I think the same issue has happened with this album, where so much of it, I'm like, maybe at the time everyone was like, oh, this is pretty neat. But now I'm just like, man, I've heard this a million times.
Certainly.
Like, I've heard this like chord progression, this kind of chuggy thing. I think After Forever is also kind of boring. I don't care for the verses. I think that the riff and the chorus that kind of happen are cool, but it's not sinister enough, nor is it fast enough, nor is it heavy enough to really, really scratch that Sabbath itch for me.
Then we get into Embryo.
Not a huge fan. I like the medieval sound.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's like Led Zeppelin, where I was like, whoa, a lot of medieval.
Yeah.
That's random.
This is
it doesn't really do
this is
a lot
English
for me.
folk music.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just funny that you say medieval, but it's like,
What do you think when medieval? You think of this? You think of lutes? You think of?
I guess. I mean, this is kind of. I guess medieval. It just feels medieval. Feels like you're reaching even further back when.
It's so short though that it doesn't really.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, overstay its welcome.
Yeah. I like how it's there. It splits things up. When we get to Children of the Grave, which is a pretty fun one.
I like Children in the Grave. This is one of our anti-war songs.
I'm not a fan of the drums they use on top of the main drums because they use like again more kind of traditional animal skin drums, but I don't think it meshes as well. But it's not bad. It's not a bad song.
The bass part at the beginning is very good, and then it gets into this little distorted riff. Also pretty
I like
good.
the chuggy riff is iconic, though almost as again this is it feels a little bit old hat at this point because I'm like how many songs in my life have I heard dun 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 dun.
Yeah, just about every other metal song out there. Yeah.
And then also the like with the big chord hit. It's cool. It's a vibe. If they at the concert, I'd be going hard to this.
Sure.
I think that I like the anti-war message. I've always appreciated that about Sabbath is that they're very open about their dissent towards the wars that Britain was constantly involving itself in all the time. It's a cool song. What do I have written here?
The song has 149 million plays on Spotify. It is the most listened to song on the album, and mostly because it was featured on the soundtrack to the movie Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe, which is their latest movie.
Do you think that that's mostly because of
I was gonna
that?
say,
No. Like recently, enough to trigger a listen on Spotify. Yeah, that would probably be
I mean, it's
been
think
featured
this
in
is just one of
multiple
this is just
movies.
one of their biggest hits.
Yeah, but
Yeah, but so is Beavis and Butthead.
like compared to other songs on this album,
I was surprised to see that it has more plays than
twice
Sweet
as
Leaf.
many listens as Sweet Leaf.
Yeah, but I think Sweet Leaf isn't like as a radio friendly or
Fair.
like live concert. Like this will be on the Greatest Hits album, Children of the Grave. Sweet Leaf might be later in it.
Yeah.
I think this is kind of like this is the more metal song, so it feels more popular.
At the end of the song, it does this really creepy thing where it's got like this really wavy outro, and he's like whispering, "Children of the Grave."
Yeah, it's spooky, ghost sounds and whispering.
Yeah.
I do like the instrumental at 2 minutes and 11 seconds. It's pretty sweet. I like the little Bowser's Castle riff that starts playing shortly after that.
Hell yeah.
And the outro jam session's good.
Yeah.
So even though I'm not a fan of the animal drums, I think the rest of it's fine.
Yeah, the guitar solo is so good in this song.
Yeah.
I would. They could cut out the first 2 minutes, and I could just get a little bit of the short intro, get that second bit, the bridge, and then get the sick guitar solo. Oh, I'd be more interested.
Then we get into Orchid. It's another short interlude.
This is lovely, though. I
But
really like
yeah,
this
Yeah,
one.
this one's
Pretty.
beautiful. Also,
Yeah.
it's a great way to open the second side of the album.
Yeah.
Yeah, it helps lift the mood after the last song, talking about war and nukes.
I guess the good thing to know is that Children of the Grave is the end of side 1, and then this is the beginning of side 2. It's kind of pretty.
Yeah, I
very
really
pretty.
liked it. I added this one to a playlist, and I enjoy when it pops up randomly.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. The way they kind of like the bass swells in
Yeah.
is very, very nice.
Yeah.
And then it's over like what, a minute and a half, 2 minutes long or something like that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then don't call him the master of reality because he is merely the lord of this world.
It's about Satan.
Oh, this riff. This riff.
They're like, we're not Satanists, guys. We're actually Christians. By the way, here's a song about Satan. And it's like, all right.
There is nothing more Christian than talking about Satan, though. You
That's
know,
true,
that's
that's
the
true.
Catholics. They love it.
But they made it sound cool. That's the problem. This one's so hard hitting. I had my
Yeah.
head bobbing along the whole time.
Yeah.
The vocals are still meh, but I think it matches the vibe a lot better. Tons of great little guitar riffs throughout this one too.
Oh, yeah.
And some tasteful cowbell in the ending instrumental.
Yeah, this
It has
song's
it all.
this song's stanky. This song reeks. I freaking love it. The hammer-ons, the do 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 is like such a core thing of that like heavy, delayed head bobbing vibe
Oh,
where it's
yeah.
like you're not ever really on the beat because you're coming in a little slow. This song hits. It's a real roll one up and smoke to it type song.
Oh, heck yeah. I can
Yeah.
get down with that.
Yeah.
The song definitely rips. It is one of my favorites on the album.
Jamie's lighting up right now.
Yeah.
And especially, oh man, when it comes into the second riff at 203 with the cowbell, oh my god.
Yeah,
Oh.
I will say Geezer Butler is I won't say underrated because his name comes up in one of the greatest bass players of all time, but he is not understated on this album. He's well positioned.
He's so tasteful.
Yeah.
Everything he plays is so it's never too flashy. It's always in service of the
Yeah,
song. He
it's
knows
perfect.
when he's like the guitar soloing, he knows that he needs to fill that lower end.
Yeah.
And he does a magnificent job. And when he needs he knows when there needs to be extra power. He knows when to accent. The playing, so many people should aspire to be able to write their parts as well as Geezer does. Like, yeah, he is so core to this album. I think it's easy to talk about Tony Iommi because of the flashy guitar solos.
Sure.
But yeah.
Chunky ass riffs too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Geezer is the one who's keeping the whole thing together.
And shout out to Bill Ward too. He keeps.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Really great drumming as well. Like they're really a truly excellent band.
No,
And also
shout out,
Ozzy's in there.
no shout outs to Ozzy though. He's just okay.
he just
He
kind
had a
of
bat that one time.
did he? I thought that was a myth.
That was Alice Cooper.
He had the
wasn't
bat.
it?
He was like going off the rail.
Then we get into Solitude. That's a pretty intro, isn't
Very
it?
nice song.
That's
It
pretty
teeters
good.
on the line of boring, but I think it stays on the relaxing side of things.
So there's an illusion of a second singer in the song because Ozzy's vocals are on a tape delay.
Yeah, I really like the reverb. The instrumentation's good. It's got good production value. I like the tasteful flute.
Yeah. So Tony Iommi plays multiple instruments on the song. He plays piano and flute.
That's cool.
It's the only song that ends on a fade out, and it works well,
Yeah.
which is rare for me to say. You can hear the faint chimes and the silence too, which is nice. Solid.
Yeah. I kind of like this song quite a bit.
He's so sad though. She laughed when he begged her to stay,
Yeah.
and he's not stopped crying since she went away.
Yeah. She's gone. Where's she
You
gone?
went away. You
She's
went away.
she's his.
I guess
best-
I'll go home, sit down, and moan. He's such a sad man.
Oh, that's funny. And then we get into the last song. This
Adam, do you have any thoughts,
This is a short one. Oh yeah, Adam.
Oh,
did you have
Solitude
anything?
is pretty.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's a slow. It's a little breather. It's a little long, but I feel like it doesn't for some reason I think the length works because I think it's so atmospheric.
Yeah.
That you can kind of just like feel the atmosphere as opposed to like really focusing on it.
You know how we know it's 1971?
How, Jamie?
There's flute.
Yeah, no one. There's
Lizzo.
those have gone. Yeah,
Like
they've gone extinct outside of Lizzo.
Jethro Tull had just come onto the scene. Aqualung had just come out. You had to put flute in an album. Aqualung was so big. I'm gonna cover Aqualung one day. That's a great album.
Never
I
heard
would
of
love
that.
to listen to do that. I have Aqualung as well.
Well, we get into
Sitting on a park bench is a song about a homeless guy, a homeless perv.
Yeah,
Pedo.
gawking at
Into the Void.
Yeah, into the void.
I just want to read my notes out. This riff makes me say, "F yeah, goddamn, stanky, heavy, beastly." That's all I wrote for this song.
Right, that's all you need. It's a cool, long instrumental to kick off the song. The riff between verses is also awesome.
Yeah.
And the song also ends with a long instrumental, but it really kicks up a notch after 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And the guitar work is so good. Like, this is what I meant by, like, I just kind of want the instrumentals. Like, I just want these guys to
Oh, yeah.
rock out.
Oh yeah,
And
for
maybe
sure.
go like, oh, every once in a while. That's all I need. I'm a simple man.
This is an incredible song. Around 3 minutes, it speeds up, and then about 20 seconds
It gets
later,
a lot faster.
yeah, and then about 20 seconds later, it slows back down again. Then it gets real chunky.
I would love a song that at that speed, though.
Yeah,
Like,
You
it's
want like a
it's
Motorhead type thing.
Sure. It feels like very Tony Hawk at that speed, like that punky speed.
Oh, sure,
It's
yeah.
funny
okay.
that you mentioned Tony Hawk because Motorhead was on the Tony Hawk soundtrack.
Well, one of you's got to pick it because I've never listened to them before.
The Ace of Spades.
Oh, the Ace of Spades. That song rocks.
If you wanna get,
You know I'm gonna lose, and gambling's for fools.
if you had the N60,
Okay, Louis Armstrong.
That's not Louis. Louis is like, hey.
That literally the same voice.
No.
You just said,
Hey,
I see trees of green, red roses, and then Lemmy's like, the ace of spades.
Why did you sound like Grover?
That's not how Grover sounds.
All we know is that Jamie is wrong. We can just agree with Jamie.
You're further off than either of us.
But this is a great way to end the album. I loved this.
Oh yeah,
compared to anything else on the
this
album.
is the longest song on the album too.
It is.
By at least half an.
It could have been
30
longer,
seconds.
honestly.
Yeah, cool. I like it.
How
It
much
does kind of just end.
The song just ends, or so the album just ends.
all
The
good
album-
things must come to an end.
Yes.
Like this side of the album is longer by 2 minutes. I wouldn't know that. And then the album itself is only 35 minutes long. Sorry.
I'm glad it's not longer. I think it is the
Yeah,
right
it's a perfect length.
Yeah, and even, they could cut After Forever and Embryo, and I would like it even more.
probably.
Well, then it would only be a one-sided album, though, wouldn't it?
Okay.
In it?
In it.
In it won't be a one-sided album, in it.
Honestly, just cut After Forever. just
Black
get
Sabbath.
rid of it, man.
Now, young feller.
Jamie's gonna upstage your dad's record by pulling out his
No,
own.
mine's almost exactly the same, but there's one difference to it. So you talk about yours real quick.
It's from my dad. It's a Canadian pressing.
What's the front?
It says Black Sabbath, Master of Reality,
And it's embossed.
It's got such a great font.
Yeah, it's a banger font.
It's like kind of wavy, but block letters. And then Master of Reality is black on black.
Yes, but it's debossed, debossed
Something
is
like
the
that.
opposite.
Yeah,
is
it's
the,
got
is
like
the way
that,
out.
yeah.
Inside, it
What
has
about the back?
Oh, on the back it is the Black Sabbath,
The same,
in the same font,
size, the same
and it
position.
has the lyrics because this was just how you got albums, so nothing was special back in the day.
Oh yeah, I guess so. Like, why would they do anything special when this is the only way of buying it?
Yeah, so like it's just and
Saturday tracks.
and inside it is a
track.
paper sleeve
Bland.
on a little disc with the
Ooh, a
the
good
color
green.
with the label being the color that they make the cigarette packs now, so that you don't buy them.
Is yours a
Sickly green.
Warner Brothers pressing?
It is.
Okay.
It's got the big
Warner
WB
Bros.
logo.
record. It's printed in Canada,
Yeah.
so it's Canadian pressing.
All right, Jamie.
Okay.
Upstage us.
There's
What's
nothing
going
really
on?
special about mine.
Yours
either,
doesn't
but
have the title on it.
Mine doesn't have the title on it.
What?
It's a mispressing.
Whoa.
That's the only thing wrong. Actually, no, it's not. Yeah,
It's worth
there
more.
was so after the initial release with the embossing, this is the second release. They didn't bother doing it because
My
it cost a
paper
bunch
looks
of
way
money.
Yeah, whoa, your paper jacket is
It's
absolutely
old.
disgusting.
It is very old.
Oh, it's not
The
sickly
label's
green
different.
either.
The label's
beige.
different, but it's still this is
That looks flawless. What year was this printed?
1972.
Wow, that is great condition.
I was gonna say even like your album, your sleeve is in great condition.
It is like
It looks like this one
absolutely
looks like it
perfect.
was owned by an 11-year-old boy.
Wait a second. It was.
My God.
Oh,
Yeah, Jamie's is flawless. That's crazy. Other than the paper sleeve, it's flawless.
Yeah, that's the original paper sleeve. I should probably change it up, but you could tell that my uncles were smokers. Whoa.
Oh, he's dropping it now.
Jesus.
Now it's not flawless.
It's not flawless anymore.
Take,
You can tell
change
my,
your Discogs from mint to near mint.
near mint minus.
You could definitely tell my uncles were smokers, but everything else about it is pretty good. And which is interesting because in 1972, my uncles would have been like teenagers, like 15.
That's perfect time to start smoking.
Yeah.
Nothing better to do.
Yeah.
Gotta smoke and do drugs.
The Cold
anyway.
War's about to happen. May as well smoke.
Cold War was already happening.
Yeah, but they're about to die from it. You know, everyone thought the bombs were going to drop. I can't imagine living that time. Jamie, what was it like? It must have been stressful for you.
Yeah, this was very stressful for me. It's also very stressful when people call me old.
You're young at heart, Jamie.
Oh, thank you. But anyway, yeah, there's not like Adams. There's nothing special about mine, except the fact that it just it eschews having the name on it at all, except on the spine.
It's funny because the streaming copies have the text in white.
Yes, because there's no way. I guess there's no way of showing an embossment, right, or whatever.
You could have the
Deboss.
3D.
Oh, true enough.
Use Google Cardboard to see this album cover.
Well, I'll start with my vinyl verdict since Jamie started last time. I think if I tried to guess where this would have gone before I listened to the album, I would have thought it was going pretty far down my list, but I ended up enjoying it more than I expected. I still didn't love it, but there are definitely some solid parts of the album that got my head bopping. I'm going to put it in the 11th spot under Emotion by Carly Rae Jepsen and above Hometowns by Rural Alberta Advantage. And that one is lower because I can't say rural very easily. It seems low, but I did truly enjoy parts of this album enough that I would be down to listen to more Black Sabbath. But I don't know if I'd choose to put this album on again.
Fair.
I'd put the one that has Crazy Train on.
That's not.
It's not Black Sabbath.
Not Black Sabbath, though. I put this album in the 5 spot below Lana Del Rey's Did You Know There's a Tunnel Under Ocean Boulevard?
Great album name.
Great album name. It's very long. And above Frank Ocean's Blonde.
Wow. It's in good company.
Yeah. This is a great album. I enjoyed listening to it. It's short and sweet. It has some memorable riffs to it. Some excellent instrumentation. I enjoyed listening to it.
What would take this album to the next level for you?
If it had
Crazy Train on
if
it.
it had if it had Iron Man on it, I don't know.
That came out 1 year earlier, I think I saw.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was their previous album.
That's some crazy progression.
yeah.
Between these albums.
It's crazy how often people put records out at one time. Like if you think about it, the Beatles only existed for 8 years, and they put out
Insane
10
to think
albums,
about that
right?
they
Yeah.
were only around for 8 years.
Yeah.
Like even the transformation they went through, it's like it boggles. My mind is boggled.
They wrote something over 400 songs. Anyway, Black Sabbath didn't write as many songs, but they did put out a frantic pace of records between 1969 and 76, and then they broke up or something like that.
Ozzy left.
Ozzy left. That's right.
Oh,
Right, and they went
So
on.
they had Ronnie James Dio.
Yeah, they got Ronnie James Dio,
James
Mr.
Dio.
Mr. Holy Diver himself.
Yeah.
Holy Diver. It's a good song. But yeah. Anyway, Adam, what do you think about what's your?
As I
Vino
said,
bird?
this album for me is something that I've listened to so much stuff that's inspired by it that the ideas on it almost feel boring at this point. However, the execution of many of the tracks, like Sweet Leaf or Into the Void, flawless, beautiful, wonderful. But I don't see myself returning to this album very much outside of the highs. I think when the hits hit, it's a great album, but then there's also kind of like 4 songs on it that I just don't really care about. There's like 4 songs on it that I just don't really care about. So that is why I am putting it above Did You Know There's a Tunnel and below Peach Pits Being So Normal in the 11th spot on my list.
Cool.
Say less.
I said everything I wanted to say.
Well, next week it's my pick,
Yeah.
and I'm picking "This Old Dog" by Mac DeMarco. I'm keeping the streak of local artists. I've chosen a lot of Vancouver artists, Canadian artists,
Yeah, he was
West
born
Coast
on,
artists.
born on Victoria. Or
No,
sorry,
that,
on the
you can't be
island?
born
From
on
Edmonton.
Victoria.
Sorry.
He's from Edmonton.
Listen, we'll talk about it next week. Don't try to steal my
He's from
thunder.
Edmonton.
Well, he was raised in Duncan, so that's Vancouver Island. So you can be born anywhere, but not from there. But we'll talk more about that next week. Aftercare question: what were some other ones, Jamie? And I'll answer first because I'm prepared for this question. You're not. That you almost picked from Adam's collection.
He's got this polka album that I was interested in.
Okay, you can answer first.
Sorry.
No, he had a polka album. Do you know what it was?
Yeah, what else?
Hold on. Is
have
it a
a-
polka album?
I have a polka album?
Oh no, you've got a reading of the
Oh,
War
Rev-
of the Worlds that I was thinking
What about
about.
the
I
cigarettes
did.
one?
I have, yes, I have Ravine stop smoking and lose weight or whatever.
Yeah.
he was, Ravine is a Edmontonian hypnotist who released an album, who was actually apparently very, quite popular, back in the 70s maybe. He was he released an album trying to you could listen to, and it would hypnotize you into stopping smoking, cigarettes, or other bad habits. And I remember reading the back of it, and it's really funny because it's really fat phobic.
It is a great album cover too. Like it's just like him, just standing there,
And it's a big
very smug.
Big stop sign.
There's a few that I almost picked, and I was just like, Adam, are these ones that you will pick for a full episode eventually? Like, I don't want to pick one that I would pick a different one from that artist, or that I could pick, or if he's going to pick it anyways, I shouldn't. I mean, Death Grips, it's funny. It's his number one. He probably would have picked it someday, but
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I really wanted to talk about Death Grips. But there was Car Seat Headrest, Twin Fantasy was one
Oh,
that
yeah.
I wanted to pick.
That-
Death's Dynamic Shroud, I enjoy. So I was like, this is great. I can make him pick it because I don't own any of their stuff, but I like it. Igloo Ghost, Clear Teme, Steel Mogu, which you gifted to me, so now I also own.
I gave you Neo Wax Bloom.
Same.
No, it's a different album.
Jamiroquai, Traveling Without Moving.
Yeah.
Mostly because I want to listen to Virtual Insanity. And
God, I
then
love that
Parquet Court, Wide Awake was the one that I was really close to. Great album cover, great album.
Yeah. We'll probably talk about that at some point.
Yeah, there's been quite a few.
You own a copy of Huey Lewis and the News' Sports album?
I do.
That album slaps.
It's so
I
good.
would like to cover it one day. You also own a copy of what's his name? Jackson Brown's Running on Empty, which is a incredible album that I would like to talk about one day.
Yeah, it's my mom. My mom was big into Jackson Brown.
Jackson Brown was a handsome man back then. And you own Chicago's Chicago 11, which
Yeah.
is a great album.
In the top 20 albums named Chicago.
Yeah, because
Chicago.
Chicago put out a bunch of, I think virtually every one of their albums is called Chicago, except the first one, which is called the Chicago Transit Authority, and they got sued for that.
Yes, they had to change their name. Let's see what their discography is. We got studio albums 26. The most recent one is
Oh,
Chicago 20. Wait, that's 33. How do they have 26 studio albums? But
All
No,
their
it's
EPs
38.
and singles.
it's 38. Chicago 38, born for this moment.
All right.
You
That
got
came
Peter
out in
Gabriel?
2022.
Oh, that explains why I saw them at, friend of the podcast and former guest, Alex Clark and his girlfriend Sarah and I went to see Chicago at the P&E. That explains why they were on tour in 2022.
That is crazy.
Chicago 37. Chicago Christmas.
Oh, God. You also own a copy of Tarkus by Emerson, Lake and Palmer, which is
That's a
banger.
great album cover. Darkest.
The armadillo tank.
Yeah.
And then the crazy, scary baboon on the inside.
That's a. Oh, you own an LCD sound system? Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
You own a number of their
He has
albums.
So by Peter Gabriel, which has Sledgehammer.
Yeah, Jamie gave that to me.
Oh yeah, I gave him my other
He's
copy of
always
So.
giving
Yeah.
people gifts. That's crazy.
Yeah, I had multiple copies of So. I also had a number of copies of Peter Gabriel's first album, which I also gave you. Peter Gabriel 1, whatever. Car. Mm-hmm. That's a great album.
Oh, yeah.
You own Candio. We're going to cover the Cars in a future episode because I like the Cars.
Adam,
But he
are there
owns
any that you
Candio.
thought we would pick?
That I was expecting you to pick? I mean, I expected Jamie to choose some old head stuff.
He did.
But I picked fun old head stuff.
I didn't say it was bad. I just said
No, I just was expecting old head stuff. I was really curious as to what you would pick. I thought maybe you'd pick something that we both had
won't? Oh,
discussed
God.
and enjoyed, Jake. I thought that maybe...
You own the worst CCR album,
Which one do I own?
Pendulum.
Oh, okay. That's probably why I have it. Because somebody else wanted to keep the good one.
Well, this has been fun. At one point, we'll do Adam picking from the Two of Ours collection because he'd be the missing link.
Yeah.
But that is not next week because next week it's This Old Dog
This old dog.
by local to multiple places, Mac DeMarco. So make sure to tune into that.
By
Hear us
Canadian
argue.
icon.
Canadian icon, controversial icon. We'll also talk about next week.
Yeah. Do you remember that episode of Eric Andre show where he got his face shoved directly into Eric Andre's butt?
No, I've got to look that up.
Yeah,
I love
that
Eric
was
Andre.
wild.
And I love Mac DeMarco.
All right, it's time to
He
go.
used to jump off balconies and
And I love you.
break his legs.
It's time to return a pizza ball.
Time to deliver a pizza ball. Bye.